Get real, child. Let's get real.
Just because something worked in the past doesn't mean it was the best way to do things or that it should continue indefinitely into the future. The same is true with energy use. We are living in a transformational age of energy, and with new technological capacities and paradigms constantly emerging, it is critical to bear an open mind to new ideas and the possibilities of what the future can be. Consider for a moment that Earth's geologic fuel resources are like a limited supply of food for a long mission to Mars. Wise planning and astute development would be key to the success of that epic journey. The good news is that by dramatically increasing carbon sequestration with the Get Real program, we can continue to utilize fossil fuels while buying us time to develop exciting new methods of energy options that I'll be outlining over the next few minutes. This is because I feel that rushing to scale up short-lived and unreliable sources such as solar photovoltaics or horizontal axis wind turbines is an unstable energy pathway for disaster. Remember the mission to Mars. We need to be thinking long-term about 24/7, 365 reliable power, not systems that can create blackouts on cloudy days and extreme weather events. 246 people died in the 2021 Texas snowmageddon with just a partial loss of power across the state. A total loss might have killed more than 1 million. Reliable energy matters. At the heart of our solar system resides our sun, a massive ball of hot plasma, a natural, ever-reliable fusion reactor whose light is behind all life on Earth. Photosynthesis began early in life on this planet, converting the sun's abundant luminous energy into chemical energy. Over the millennia, plant life, from single-celled organisms to multicellular ones, have thrived on the warmth and energy of our yellow star. These organisms convert to biomatter and are stored within the Earth. Added with a long time horizon and pressure, they will eventually transform into hydrocarbons that we call fossil fuels. From coal-fired steam engines to internal combustion-powered automobiles to jet-fueled aircrafts, the entire modern age is tied to these ancient photosynthetic processes. For countless generations, however, man primarily used wood as an energy source and the building material for everyday life. With that knowledge, great damage has been occurred upon Mother Earth in man's quest for energy resources and materials. Forests throughout history were toppled to serve growing civilizations. Many scientists agree that a rainforest once stood in the location now dominated by the huge Sahara Desert. It is notable that man's modern use of fossil fuel has allowed, to some degree, some reforestation, since fossil fuel supplies a lot of the energy that was once provided by wood. However, man's reliance on hydrocarbon fuels has steadily depleted Earth's natural resources. This is only one of the many areas where we need to pragmatically shift course and innovate. We must think long-term, over centuries, and plan extensively with the health of our great-great-great-grandchildren in mind. So let's consider all resources available to get real about smart energy options that secure us a more prosperous future. The Get Real program sees a less painful pathway to energy production becoming sustainable and maintaining national security, all while being less damaging to the environment. It doesn't make sense to waste a vital and limited resource just because we can acquire it cheaply in the present. We put no value on what it would take to create oil or natural gas, just what it costs to extract it. Cheap fossil fuel prices hamper long-term energy thinking. Fortunately, there's a full range of energy options that civilization can wisely utilize. Let's start with geothermal. Did you know the U.S. has many abandoned oil and gas wells at depths hot enough for geothermal power? That's gigawatts of power ready and waiting to be tapped. Unlike the sun or wind, geothermal heat is constant and exists everywhere on Earth at varying depths depending on geology. Certain areas like Yellowstone Park and parts of Iceland are very hot at the Earth's surface, but in most of the world, there are layers of sedimentary rock from ancient oceans that can be miles thick, standing between the surface of the Earth and the geothermal heat in and below the Earth's crust. This cosmic energy source is the heat coming from the interior of the Earth. In fact, it exceeds the energy of all the fossil fuel reserves by more than 50,000 times. There is a need for innovation and research to develop better ways to drill deep and to develop more efficient ways to use this eternal heat source. The Earth can provide heat and a low-temperature heat source near the surface with a geothermal heat pump. This technology is proven and available, but hasn't caught on in a big way because it is more expensive than an inefficient air-sourced heat pump. One of the reasons why Texas ran out of power in the Snowmageddon is standard heat pumps that try to extract heat from the winter air can only extract heat down to a temperature a little below freezing from the air. When it gets colder than that, the system has to use much more energy-intensive electric resisting heat. This greatly increases electric use. A geothermal heat pump extracts heat from the constant nearly 50-degree temperature underground, making it much more efficient. All the cheap electric heat pumps were a big factor along with the wind turbines freezing up in the deadly power outage in Texas. As geothermal heat pumps are more efficient than standard heat pumps in winter, especially on cold days, there need to be strong building incentives for installation. Geothermal heat pumps will lower electricity use and reduce carbon emissions. Geothermal power from the depths is 24/7 reliable, rain or shine, and doesn't wear out. A deep wellbore, like for oil and gas, costs a lot to drill, but can last 100 years if properly constructed. Temperatures sufficient for power production are found everywhere at a deep enough depth. However, we need improved methods for making deep boreholes that will last indefinitely to provide a nearly eternal source of useful heating and energy. There is a need for more research on geothermal development by government and industry, as well as preferential pricing for geothermal power. Government and state utility commissions should support more efforts in this area.
Did you know that the first methane biodigester was built back in 1859 by a leper colony in Bombay? Yep. It turns out the ancient Chinese knew how to utilize sewage gas for cooking, according to Marco.
Polo.
And England already figured out how to power their gas lights with sewage 150 years ago. What's that you say, mate? They're doing what with me droppings? Fast forward to today, Germany has installed over 8,000 biodigesters with 4,000 megawatts of energy capacity, and over 100 million people have access to biodigesters in rural China. Carbon drawdown climate guru Paul Hawken estimates that over 10 gigatons of CO2 could be sequestered by 2050 if we can scale up digesters effectively. Just imagine if the U.S. decided to throw away the notion of waste and harnessed energy options by keeping that poop in the loop. Now back to you, David.
Biogas, biofuels, and cogeneration. Biogas anaerobic digesters can be built to last many decades. Unlike a wind turbine, it works all the time and is made of simple, durable tanks, not exotic composite materials. In the long term, biogas from waste like manure and crop residues like cotton, corn, and hemp stalks, as well as renewable materials such as algae derived from photosynthesis, are ideal for many purposes like generating electricity. Overall, we need to be much more efficient, closing the loop on various waste streams, separating it fully into different types that can be repurposed, recycled, or upcycled into biochar and transformed into energy. To really use renewable energy, we need to make biodigestion an essential part of the mix, as almost anything containing biologic carbon compounds can be digested to make methane with anaerobic bacteria. Large or small, we need biodigesters on every farm, converting waste biomass and animal waste into energy-rich methane. Cogeneration is using fuel to power an electrical power source and using the waste heat from the power plant to do other useful things. Engineers realized that hot exhaust from a gas turbine could be used to heat a steam boiler and power a steam turbine to make more power. Doing this boosts the efficiency to over 60%. Going one step further, you can put a small power plant next to a building that would make it easy to use the waste heat to provide the needed heat to operate an absorption system that can both heat and cool a building. This can increase the efficiency to near 90% in summer and 150% in winter. How do you get more heat out than heat in? Well, an absorption system can actually extract heat from the outside air down to its cooling temperature, which in the case of ammonia is minus 5 degrees Fahrenheit. This is far lower than the typical compression heat pumps. This could be accomplished by using both geologic or biogas as an energy source. To reduce carbon emissions and make room for intermittent renewables, we need to reduce coal use and build natural gas power plants that integrate biogas operations in order to produce reliable backup power for solar photovoltaic systems. But even better is not to build these expensive, unreliable energy sources and focus on developing better ways. FOI Group, LLC, is an invention dynamo that has developed early-stage inventions to do this. You can learn more by going to www.fullofideas.com. This pathway can really reduce our carbon emissions by stacking energy efficiencies and smartly harnessing various renewable energy methods. Algae is super efficient, producing over 10 times more biofuel per acre than crops, but it really needs added CO2 to grow well. Current algae farming methods try to do it standalone, just using air to provide the CO2 for algae. Algae productivity can be increased 2 or 3 times with concentrated CO2 fertilization from a biogas system. Placing algae tanks at biodigesters or CO2 use points turns CO2 into liquid fuels and other products. We need to redesign how we do agriculture so it can work efficiently to be sustainable. Turning farms into regenerative operations that are net energy producers instead of big energy consumers. We need to think holistically about the new generation farm that is carbon negative and produce lots of sustainable food and energy. Using biodigesters to make natural gas out of waste sets up a great situation where algae tanks can use all of the co-produced CO2 to make biofuel, food, and even fertilizers. Now that would be a green revolution. We need to take a real hard look at more efficient wind options. Horizontal axis wind turbines get a lot of attention, but we need to recognize its variable energy output, enormous financial costs, and ecological damage to birds. It also has a short life. In fact, thousands of aging wind blades are coming down around the world and heading to landfills. In the U.S. alone, about 36,000 blades will be removed over the next 4 years. What if we used wind in a more synergistic way? What if we used it not as a standalone source for fluctuating electric power, but as part of an integrated gas turbine power system that produced stable power in all wind conditions? Using vertical wind turbines means the power conversion equipment is on the ground instead of high in the air and can handle shifting wind easily. Imagine a new design gas turbine where a series of vertical axis wind turbines that compress the air with extra fuel-powered compressors available in times of little wind. This system combines wind power with heat supplied by natural gas and/or solar thermal for a steadier, full-time electric generation. My idea is to harness wind power to compress gases for multiple beneficial uses. For more, check out wind compression technology at www.hybridwindturbine.com. Overall, wind utilized more productively as part of a multi-layer energy and food system on agricultural land will result in much greater energy production for all, as well as more profits for farmers and ranchers. If the goal is to produce energy with low or zero carbon emissions, then nuclear power needs serious consideration. Nuclear energy is carbon-free, but it is not renewable, as uranium is a finite resource. Current reactor designs are wasteful of nuclear fuel. A way to effectively use uranium would be in smaller, safer reactors located near cities where all the waste heat could be used for other purposes, as new modular plants are much less susceptible to meltdown and appear more efficient. Did you know it's possible to extract uranium from seawater and have a 30,000-year supply? It's a little more expensive than the mined uranium, but it's great to know we have a nearly infinite supply. Stay tuned to the links included, as major recent breakthroughs have been made with nuclear fusion in California, which show great promise for this game-changing energy option. Most people think very simply about energy, and complex systems such as power plants can stagger their mind. That makes solar photovoltaics or solar PV panels appealing. It's a system that has no moving parts and seems to magically turn sunlight into electricity. I'm sure you're all familiar with these solar panels across rooftops and vast landscapes. But are you aware of the incredible energy capacity that can be more reliably provided by solar thermal systems? Solar thermal is a technology that transforms sunlight into concentrated heat that is used to heat water, homes, and businesses. It can also generate electricity for air conditioning, drying, even desalination. Yes, solar thermal systems are currently more expensive, but with less vulnerability to cloudy days, far lower space requirements, and amazing energy efficiency at 70% compared to photovoltaic current averages of only 15 to 20%. It's a winner for FOI Group LLC. We highly endorse solar thermal systems for homes and businesses over solar PV as a smarter energy option. That's why the FOI Group is currently working on a better solar thermal power system that can be fitted to roofs to provide more power and be able to be backed up by natural gas at minimal extra cost for full-time reliable power. Our system has thermal storage to be able to shift power generation from an oversupply at midday to evening when the sun is down and when power needs are high, making them more efficient and cheaper than batteries. Please tune in to www.fullofideas.com and support it to move us faster to bringing this to market. I've got a few more things to say about solar, And if you're someone who is all in on solar PVs as a standalone solution to climate change, then get prepared to be offended. If you all haven't caught on by now, I have a beef with solar photovoltaics because there are some real problems that aren't being addressed. It is inherently intermittent and requires strong sunlight that only exists in a few sunny locations, such as southern deserts, to make its rated power. Let's break down this solar radiation predicament with these graphs showing actual solar radiation measured in Dallas, Texas over a week in summer and winter. These are minute-by-minute graphs that show how solar radiation can go away nearly instantly with basic cloud cover that blocks the sunlight for a minute or more, resulting in a vertical line of sharply lower radiation. And it shows a much shorter and lower power output in winter. I use solar panels to power electric fences on my ranch for years. The system worked pretty well with batteries in the summer, but in the winter we had to take the batteries to the shop to recharge them on cloudy days, as the panels didn't make enough power for the fence charger and to charge the batteries. We just can't have power that goes away in an instant or potentially for days. You can see from the graphs there are days with very little power. The big myth is that batteries can provide needed power, but batteries are rated for providing only 2 hours of power, not days. Nobody talks about how many solar panels would be needed to charge batteries to last over several cloudy days. The number is staggering. Up to 20 times more panels and batteries would be needed to provide constant power. That means a solar PV system with batteries to provide continuous power would cost 20 times more than what people say is the cheap price of solar photovoltaic. Suffice it to say, I'm not a real fan of photovoltaics. There is a huge amount of energy in ocean waves. In fact, there is more than enough to power coastal regions. Wave energy is concentrated wind energy added to the ocean over miles before it dissipates in shallow water due to friction with the ocean floor and then finally crashes into the coast. The highest speed portion of the wave is the top, so it would be ideal to have the slowing surface only engage this part of the wave by being suspended by an overhead conveying system that transfers the imparted force to a power generating mechanism. One invention I've been working on with my company FOI Group LLC is a new way to capture much of the energy in ocean waves. The invention actually slows and flattens waves over a distance, which can create substantial power. This kind of wave energy capture could be a breakthrough that is needed to capture enough energy to power various coastal areas. You can learn more at www.fullofideas.com and how you can support our efforts. There is so much to be covered and uncovered on all the various smart energy options depending on your specific region. Be sure to purchase the book, Get Real, A Positive Solution to Climate Change, to take a deeper dive on topics like greater efficiencies within air, rail, and ship transportation and our electric utility grid vulnerabilities. It's truly been an honor to share with you through this series. Thanks for taking time to get real with us. Please stay in touch with ongoing developments via www.getrealalliance.org, where you can sign up for our newsletter and donate to advance this critical cause. Please stay passionate about powerful solutions to climate change. Remember the good news about the Get Real Deal climate program is that we don't have to give up reliable energy anytime soon in order to rapidly make the world carbon negative while we still use oil and gas. The reason to seek other renewable energy sources is not carbon emissions alone, but to have energy in 100 years when many geologic sources may be depleted. My final food for thought is that life is a constant balancing act. The irony is that if we really increase carbon sequestration by remineralizing the ocean and soils and other natural changes in the way necessary to restore Earth's ecosystems, we might actually see CO2 levels go down too much, leading to reduced plant growth, as carbon dioxide is a limiting nutrient for well-fed plants. What might we do then? Well, thanks again, and many blessings to each of you. This is David Munson Jr. signing off for now.
Get real.